Today's lesson is on exponents. So when you're looking at an exponent, you have to remember these three basic vocab words: power, base, and exponent. So power is a product of the repeated factors. Your base is the common factor that it is to be multiplied by itself, and then your exponent indicates the number of times that the base is used as a factor. So if you're looking at this value here, this is called 5 to the fourth. So this means your base number is 5 and you want to raise it to the fourth power, which means I want you to take 5 and multiply it by itself 4 times. So using that information, we can take an expression and write it using powers. So here, if you see it says -7 times -7 times -7, what you're going to say to this is, oh, okay, so then I want you to take -7 and raise it to the third power. Okay, when you do that, you'll find out that -7 to the third power, -7 times -7 times -7, will give you this answer, which we're not going to do right now because we're just writing them. So the next one you're seeing, you have pi times r times r times r. So what this says is I want you to take two of these pi's and multiply them together. Okay, so that's pi squared. And then I want you to take r, and r. There's 3 of them there. So we're going to write that as r cubed. So you can take an expression and write it using a power. Write it using those exponents if you're multiplying the same base by itself so many different times. So in this next group, we're now going to evaluate these expressions. So these first few problems, you'll see, you'll see 3 to the 5th power. So what that means is I want you to take 3 and times it by itself 5 different times. Okay, so 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. You're going to use a calculator to do this. If you have a regular scientific calculator, you're going to punch the number 3, and then on the left-hand side, there's what I call like a caret. It looks like this, and that button means I want you to raise it to this power. So in your calculator, you would punch in the number 3, hit that caret button, and then hit the number 5, and then hit equals. That's going to give you 3 to the 5th power, which the answer is going to be 243. In number 4, we have -4 cubed. So this says I want you to take -4 and times it by itself 3 different times. So -4 times -4 times -4, which is going to be -4 times -4 is positive 16. Positive 16 times -4 gives you that -64. Take a look at number 5. This one is written differently. If you notice in number 4 and also number 1 up here, the -7 and the -4 were in parentheses, but in number 5 it's not. And that is a big difference. So if you have a negative value raised to an exponent and you don't have parentheses, then what this is saying to you is, okay, well, I want you to take -1 times 5 to the 4th power because you're only raising the 5 to that 4th power. So it's literally saying I want you to take 5 to the 4th and then times it by -1, or just slap that -1 on the side of it. So this in actuality is going to be a -625. Anytime you have a value written like this, your answer will always be negative. If you have it inside parentheses, then you can go by that rule of, okay, well, if it's an odd exponent, your value is going to be negative. If it's an even exponent, like in number 8 down here, your value is going to be positive because you'll have 4 different negatives, which is going to create a positive answer. So looking at number 6, you have 2 to the 8th power. So that's going to mean I want you to take 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I lost my track. Times 2 times 2. And that's going to give you, using your calculator, 256. So number 7 and number 8, there's those 2 different ones. So in number 7, it's like saying -1 times 7 squared, which 7 squared is 49, so it's -49. But then in number 8, it's -8 times -8 times -8 times -8, which is going to give you that positive 4,096. The last piece of this lesson is taking these powers and using them in an expression by using the order of operations. So for these three, you're going to go by PEMDAS. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS means you're going to do parentheses. If you don't have parentheses, but you do have some sort of grouping symbol, like in number 11, you're going to do what's inside there first. Then you move on to E for the exponents. After that, it's multiply or divide, and then add or subtract. You work left to right with those two operations. So when you see number 9, you're going to do your exponent first. So 3 to the 4th power, that's what you're going to evaluate first. So since you guys have been solving these types of problems for a while now, I want you to pause this video and solve these 3. And then when you are finished solving them, unpause the video and I will have the answers up here for you with all this subsequent work. So go ahead and pause. So you'll notice that these have been solved. The one I want you to kind of take a look at is number 11, where inside the absolute value symbols there, you had -3 to the 3rd. There was no parentheses around that -3. So what that means that you're going to do is that -1 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is going to give you that negative value. So check your answers.